Just a recap and overview, we are in Unit 4, Empires of Asia, and in Chapter 8, Dynasties of China. And we are doing Section 1, A Golden Age of Prosperity. And recently we learned about the reunification under the Sui dynasty and the spread of Buddhism, and we also tackled about Taoism and Confucianism. And previously we learned about the Tang and Song dynasties, and today we will learn about the legacy of Chinese inventions. This lesson is available in our book, whether online or the actual printed book, Loda USD website, and Clever, and from their Cengage Learning. And log in with your student account and password through the National Geographic Learning. And from the left side, it should be from Unit 4 to Chapter 8 to Section 1, Lesson 4, and that is pages 218 to 219. This chapter's essential question is, what legacy did China leave to the modern world? And the objective is to identify how Chinese inventions have shaped our own world. As an overview, China left an inventions of paper money, movable type for printing, books, porcelain, gunpowder, and magnetic compass for navigation. So in this lesson, we will discuss about the legacy of Chinese inventions and how they were created during the Tang and Song dynasties. First, let's talk about printing and paper money. Well, first, the Chinese had invented paper around AD 100, and about 500 years later, 5 centuries, they continued another bookmaking breakthrough through block printing. This technique involved carving the text in reverse to stand out on a block of wood. So the block was painted with ink and pressed onto paper to create printed page. It's like a stamp. But carving the blocks for each page of each book was a long process. Hence, around 1041, the innovation of the movable type. As you can see in the picture, this movable type used individual carved characters, made it easier and cheaper to print books. So they are just moving this stamp-like carved objects. So the new widespread distribution of books helped spread government regulations, literature, obviously, and the ideas of Confucianism and Buddhism. These are the main religion and philosophy in China. So as China's population grew, they had to print large amount or quantity of coins. In 1085, about 6 billion coins were minted per year. Well, obviously, the coins are too heavy and bulky, so for large transactions, for example, this will be a difficult task to do. So if you're just purchasing maybe a couple of eggs or whatever, it will not really affect you. But if you have to purchase a ship or something like that, it will be very difficult. So merchants began exchanging paper notes as IOUs or IOU, like you will translate that to I, personally I, O, like OWE, and YOU. So the money stand in bank but was owned by whoever held the notes. So around 1100s, the first government-backed currency was issued. So over time, the use of bank seals and increasing complex designs helped discourage counterfeiting, and that is, creating fake monies or currencies. Next group of inventions are gunpowder, the magnetic compass, and porcelain. Gunpowder was accidentally discovered by Chinese alchemists attempting to turn worthless metals into gold. So this chemist found that sulfur, saltpeter, and charcoal made a powerful explosive when mixed together. So the military found that gunpowder confined in an iron tube could shoot objects in great distance. So the discovery led to the development of cannons, eventually guns, and of course, fireworks. So later, Chinese armies used gunpowder in Central Asia, and the secret spread from then on. Well, the Chinese had long used magnetic compass or compasses as well for ceremonies, but in 1100s they began using them for navigation. Well, a silver of magnetized iron, just like what you're seeing here, although it looks like a little bit golden, hanging from a silk thread or floating in water would point north and south. Unfortunately, I can't find a picture of what I just described. So, the compass, this property allowed sailors to tell their directions without the sun or the stars. And longer sea journeys also became possible, which increased China's maritime trade, meaning they were able to sell their goods and purchase goods from other places as well. And finally, we have the porcelain. So, this one is very important to the Chinese during this time. So it is a price trade item that is strong, light, and nearly, thorough ceramic. So porcelain's close guarded secret was the blending of unique minerals and a glaze at a very high temperature. So because of the secret techniques, porcelain or china, as it came to be called, was incredibly rare and expensive. Now let's take a look at these inventions again. The first one is the movable type. Artisans carved characters as individual clay tablets that could be arranged on board to form a text. So after printing, the characters could be reused. The next one is a porcelain. Picture of a porcelain. So just like what I said a while ago, techniques for creating porcelain were perfected during the Tang Dynasty and reached the height of artistry under the Song Dynasty, which is the dynasty that followed the Tang Dynasty. So the formula used to create porcelain was a closely guarded secret. We also have the magnetic compass. So just like was mentioned a while ago, it was originally created for rituals. But during the Song Dynasty, they discovered the secret to making a magnetic compass used for navigation. And finally, we have the gunpowder. So after the invention of the gunpowder, the military experimented with explosive arrows, so grenades, rockets, and landmines as well. And finally developed firearms and eventually fireworks that we enjoy during the 4th of July and other, celebrations. Obviously, there are more Chinese inventions, but those are the popular ones, at least for the Tang and Song dynasties. Now let's go to the review and assess questions. Number 1, reading check. What inventions occurred during the Tang and Song dynasties? Number 2, draw conclusions. Why did the invention of movable type help increase the spread of ideas? And number 3, analyze cause and effect. How did the use of magnetic compasses for navigation affect China's trade? Now go to our Google Classroom and answer the review and assess questions, the last slide, and put your name and class period date. And our key vocab is porcelain. And of course, if you want to get the full credit, don't forget to write the title of this lesson and answer the questions correctly using your own words in complete sentences. So that is our lesson for today, the legacy of the Chinese inventions.